Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining the Bookers Alliance podcast today. Come on in, grab yourself a ringside seat, grab yourself a plate, some forks, some napkins for our Thanksgiving extravaganza.
All right. Happy holidays to everybody out there. Everybody get your stomachs ready. Go get them pumped or whatever you need to do on Wednesday, because come Thursday, do some good eating, and then Black Friday morning when you're doing your shopping, come on over and listen to the Bookers Alliance. Let us talk to you.
Absolutely. Let us talk to you. Yeah. and since it is the holidays and when a festive move, let's go ahead and
all right.
Let's crack one open here.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Little Jack and Coke here.
All right.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers. Lick this part off the table here that I just made a mess with. There we go.
Yeah, none of that goes to waste, sir. Can't let it go to waste.
Gotta lick it up. Sop it up like a biscuit.
Like a biscuit.
There you go. Sop it up like a biscuit.
All right, so our topic today, we're going fantasy book a storyline here in regards to the Four Horsewomen.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not talking about the MMA fighters.
Uh-oh.
We're talking about the original Four Horsewomen.
Ah, okay.
So we're talking about Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, and Sasha or Mercedes?
Mercedes Banks?
Mercedes Banks.
Sasha Monet?
Sasha Monet?
We'll figure it out. We'll get there.
We'll get there. Lord help us.
Dude, let's have another drink on it. That'll get us there a lot faster.
Yes, sir. All right.
Of course, credit of our sponsor this week, Coca-Cola Jack Daniels, number 7.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we thank you, Jack, and not a sponsor, but we open to you, sir. So
absolutely, our podcast is available for all advertising. If you want to reach men, women between the ages of 18 and 49, that key demographic.
There you go.
You come to the Demo Pod.
The Demo Pod. I like
there
that.
You go.
All right. So first, before we get to the fantasy book in here, we gotta touch on something real quick. We gotta talk about Full Gear. We gotta talk about AEW.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about some of the things we saw, some of the things we wish we wouldn't.
Some of the stuff we never want to see again. Yeah.
But so I will go on record as saying that I probably will not let my children watch AEW anymore.
Yeah, you're going to have to give them a few years. They're definitely in the rated R territory now. I mean, I know they brought Edge over, but they didn't have to bring the whole gimmick over. They went completely rated R.
Yeah, so some of the stuff, I mean, they of course, as a kid, I was watching that stuff, but, that's questionable. Should we have been? But, so the match that we're talking about in particular was a Texas death match between Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland.
Not exactly. So
okay.
That was Hitman Hangman Page and Stone Cold Swerve Strickland, because they basically reenacted the old WrestleMania 13 angle.
Yeah.
But, they went a different way with the winner, but they kind of reenacted that angle with the whole blood and the... they, of course, somehow another Vampire Warrior came out during that match. I don't know what the hell he was doing there.
Yeah, so the storyline was Swerve broke into Hangman's house and kind of cut a promo over the crib of Hangman's newborn baby. And whether that, whatever you want to call that, that's good storytelling to me. That was great.
That kind of goes into the demo again too.
Right.
They're not playing to the younger crowd; they're playing to an older crowd. I mean, WWE did that. They've had a few break-ins. Remember the whole Brian Pillman gun angle with Stone Cold? There was that, and then they revisited it with Randy Orton and Triple H. They've had a few of those, but. I don't know. Swerve breaking in and standing over the crib. That was it was edgy, so it was cool to me.
As a papa, that kind of brought the Papa Bear out.
There you go.
That resonated with me, and I'm like, oh shit, no.
Yeah, because what you would have been thinking, like, man, if this was me right Joker. Now, that match might go a little too. That might be a shoot, brother.
You got that right.
So I mean, granted, it was staged, it was all acted out and all. But when you're a wrestling fan and you're trying to get invested in that storyline,
right?
Yeah, you'd be thinking to yourself, man, if that was me, this is gonna be a shoot.
Yeah, so a couple things we want to talk about real quick in that match. First and foremost, we got to talk about the vampire spot, the blood in the mouth. So Hangman, he leans underneath Swerve as Swerve's bleeding from the forehead, gets a mouthful of blood, stands up, and all of a sudden thinks he's Triple H. Yeah. Spits the blood in the air. Now, I'm going to go on record.
I thought he was Gangrel.
Gangrel.
Yeah, maybe, I mean, Edge was back there pissed off like, hey, he took my entrance. Then he realized, he's like, oh, shit, wait.
Now, I'm going to go on record as saying this. When I saw it, my initial reaction wasn't a reaction of shock and horror and disgust. My initial reaction was, holy hell, this is a effing warrior right here. Like, you know, because I mean, Game of Thrones, Vikings. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to shy away from the gratuitous violence of it. Yeah. But the fact that this isn't a movie.
Right.
It wasn't a TV show.
Right.
This happened in real life. It wasn't staged blood. This dude really did this.
He was really cut. Yeah. He was really, a crimson mask.
Yeah. And after the fact, when I saw it, I was like, yeah. And then afterwards, I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
Really?
So, I mean, I'm a little bit older than you, so my instinct reaction was, damn, are we this far removed from COVID that we can drink blood on TV now? I mean, just 3 years ago, we couldn't even come out of our houses.
We couldn't even sneeze in somebody's direction.
Me and you live in a very close vicinity to each other. We have to stand inside our doors and kind of wave like kids and all, because we couldn't come out of the house. And now here 3 years later, we're drinking each other's blood.
Yeah. That's a step off there.
Yeah. So I was like, wait a minute. I don't know about this. But I mean, hey, big ups to Hangman. He got his red wings that day. So, and there's the pop. I knew I was going to get that one. I was waiting on that one. But I mean, big ups to Hangman. He went on. He became official. So, he did his thing.
Dude,
but
you seriously just took a moment of savagery in my mind. And now you have... No, you demoralized it now.
Again, it was gross. So that means gross comments are going to be made about it.
Oh, God.
When you hear me all busted open later on this week talking about that same thing, I'm cracking that same joke there. This is going viral. But Hangman went on and got his red wings that day. He did his thing. But hell of a match. You got to give those two guys credit. They went out there and put on a effing show.
Hell of a match. I mean, I've never seen anything like that in modern day wrestling. Now, granted, pull up some tapes, 70s and 80s, Terry Funk matches. Yeah, I mean, that was the norm for his type of match. But
you didn't see that on TV.
No, you didn't see it on TV. That wasn't, you had to be in the arena to see it.
Yeah, that was right. That was stuff that, they would cut away from. They would, move away from, or... It was so obscure that, you had to go and get tapes to go see that. It wasn't something that you'd pay your normal, Sunday pay-per-view money to see.
So did you pay attention to Swerve's attire any?
Yeah. So, and I saw on a lot of social media was talking about a tribute to Bray Wyatt, which I thought was really cool because
I thought that was cool.
Didn't know their correlation like that. Obviously they were both performers. They both came up in NXT around the same time. So after I heard it, I thought about it and got it. But at the moment I didn't get it. But real cool tribute.
Real cool tribute. And then he just went full blown Joker. I mean, with the staple gun. Homeboy was stapling him into himself and not flinching.
So let me ask you that. So the correlation I made earlier with the Hitman and the Stone Cold thing. Do you think there was a turn? A double turn there? Do you think there was
with Swerve going face and Hitman going heel?
So look at what happened later on. What happened with the Elite later on? They kind of went heel, right?
Maybe.
So, and the Elite ain't the most loved people in all of wrestling, and Hangman really wants to be associated with them. They're even turning against their own now. There's infighting and all, so maybe. I could definitely see some hints of a little double turn. And the fans were so behind Swerve out there.
Dude, they were all into Swerve. The Who's House, the Nana Dance. They
have been. It isn't like that's a brand new thing. Swerve has been picking up. He's picked up a lot of momentum lately as far as crowd reaction, things like that. Like you said, the Nana Dance. It's over.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. And Swerve's so good.
If you do want to call it what it is, if you do want to look at it on these terms. So Hangman being Batman, Swerve being Joker. They're kind of developing this arch nemesis between each other.
Yeah.
We're gunning for a rubber match. It's going to happen because that's 1-1 now.
Is it? Yeah. I thought. Wait, Swerve won at the pay-per-view too.
Hangman took the first match. Swerve took the second match.
We're going to have to get the producer to look that one up.
Let's look it up.
I remember Swerve doing that where he holds him up and doing the suplex slam. I remember him explicitly winning at the last pay-per-view.
All right, keep talking.
Lord, we don't have enough time to be looking it up here. Busted open. Y'all know. Y'all would be complaining about it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Go ahead and carry us into your other favorite match from the event while I'm looking at it.
Okay, good to know. So we'll celebrate on a drink for whoever's wrong on that in a minute. But yeah, so I want to talk about the Sting, Darby Allin, Edge match. Well, I'm sorry. Cope match against Christian and the Patriarchy, which that was an interesting, little name that they came up with for that group, the Patriarchy. I completely got it as soon as I heard it. And I was like, you know what? That's pretty damn original to come up with that name with Christian, and his whole gimmick. He's like the daddy of the group and all that. Pretty creative, but I mean, we didn't get to see Edge or Cope and Christian touch. They made sure to hold off for that. You're gonna have to pay $60 more to see that.
Yeah.
You're not getting that for free on this one. You're gonna have to wait to see that. Very good. Smart, very smart.
Smart booking.
But again, you got Edge and Christian in there. You're Cope and Christian in there. They know what they're doing. They're both 25+ year vets. They know what they're doing. So at this point now, they're geared up for, like you said, where you're interested in that. And that's something we've complained about from AEW for a while now, is there's not a lot of stuff to be interested in. It's right. Like there was the whole MJF thing, and that was really good. Then everybody else was just kind of flailing around. Well, now that you finally got Edge and Christian, teasing that physicality, Sting's on the way out. You don't know how that's going to turn out. I'd actually like to see if Cope was the one that sent Sting packing, because I feel like two legends getting in there would be about as close as we're ever going to get to, like Sting Undertaker. Sting Cope would be about as close as we're going to get to that. I feel like that would be a great send-off for Sting, but I don't know if we're going to get there. But, we don't have to get there anytime soon. Sting's not going nowhere no time soon. So we've got plenty of time. We've got the whole winter, essentially, for Christian and Cope to, get in there and finally, lead up to get that build-up built for that match and give us the big payoff.
So I like the match. I don't know. AEW, sometimes in these mini men matches, you get these screwy wound, the flow of the match, it was just a little off pace for me.
Well, there's definitely that. Plus, there was a lot of, oh my God, someone's going to die spots.
Yeah, I thought
there's always too much of those.
I thought that Darby was definitely not going to be able to climb Mount Everest.
So
I definitely thought that
apparently. So I heard something about that. They said that's not real. They said he's not intent to do that now. They said he's actually going away for some kind of training or something like that. Well, to recover first, because I mean, let's be honest, his body's gone through the compactor the last 6 months.
Yeah.
But I think they said he was going to go away and kind of try and recover, let his body rest up, and then he was going to go climb this mountain. So that was the last that I heard here, but what'd you find over there, sir?
So I'm still looking it up. So
do you remember what the event was?
I mean, Wrestle Dream now that I found it, I found that much.
Oh.
So we'll have to try to keep going with that one. But the match that I liked from the card, I really liked the ladder match. I thought some of the spots in that was really cool. Roosh is a freaking superstar. He's just not getting the TV time that he deserves right now. That man is so over. Him and Brody King, good God Almighty.
Yeah, there were some big jokers. The only thing that they're missing in AEW, they'll never just understand it, but they're missing. If they would call him Big Brody King,
no.
They would be so ready to go if they would call him Big Brody King.
I am not going to let you do this to another man.
If they would just call him Big Brody King, he'd be so over.
No,
he would be the most over act going if they would just call him Big Brody King.
Him and Malachi Black, their tag team name alone, Kings of the Black Throne.
So I thought they were House of Black. What the hell? How are they?
So as a group, as a faction, they are the House of Black.
Oh, good Lord.
As a faction. But that's all included.
When they kept calling them that. Yeah.
Everybody.
Okay, I understand it now. When they kept calling them that the other day, right. I was like, who the hell is the
Kings of the Black?
Yeah, I was like, who the hell are they? I was like, they're not the House of Black no more.
No, there's different groups groups within the faction.
Yeah.
Just
so
like,
I guess like New Age Outlaws was in DX or something like that. Oh, God. Jesus Christ. So you mean to tell me they can give 3 different names to that faction, but they can't call Brody King Big? What the hell? I'm fired up about this one now. You know, hell, if they would call him Big Brody King, he'd be so over.
No, that dude is big though.
I mean, he's big as hell. So you call
Joker.
Swerve hit 2 more house call kicks and finally scored the pinfall victory over Page with a JML driver.
I submit to you.
Drop the phone. Drop the mic. Hold on.
Mic drop.
Drop the mic. All right, let's get reset up here.
Y'all, it took 60 episodes for our first ever mic drop on Booker's Alliance.
There you go.
Cheers.
So I got the pops, I got the mic drops, I got the phone drops. Hell, I'm having a good day today. All right.
Day. But that match
was... So to touch back into that, though, so yeah, no rubber match is needed. I feel like at this point, Page has put Swerve over as much as he can. Swerve's elevated. Swerve's to that next level.
Swerve should be in that next elevated picture. He definitely should be going for the world title at this point.
He should. The only thing that I'm afraid about if Swerve goes after the world title is he's LA Knight. Yeah. He goes after the world title. He doesn't win it. And then where does he go from here? Because now we're kind of in this lost area where LA Knight is like, okay, you know, we know he ain't good enough to beat Roman, but we still want to cheer him. We're kind of in that funky territory.
I will say this though, MJF don't get in the Texas death match with him.
Well, definitely not. But I don't know. Maybe we need to get into that real quick. What about this MJF title run? I mean, where else does it go? If Adam Cole's still hurt, there isn't really any more, you know, people for him to wrestle. If Adam Cole ain't going to be back in time to get into that title picture, maybe you swing it to Swerve at that point. I mean, is it killing you?
Man, that whole story is so boring to me right now.
It's Adam Cole getting hurt just, I mean, it killed it. Yeah, it killed it. It was, you know, it had a lot of legs. You know, there was so much going on with it, a lot of activity.
I appreciate the super babyface turn that MJF has done. I appreciate all of that. But they need to go on and pay off the story with the devil, change things up, get it moving. Because right now, his storyline, to me, I'm so invested in MJF. I still am. I'm a fan of MJF. I love his work. I love what he's doing as far as in-ring stuff. Mm-hmm. Dude is being more innovative than in you know, a handful of matches that I've seen anybody be in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the storyline with him, this whole uber babyface.
Yeah.
So which is he? Is he babyface or is he the devil?
Yeah.
Give me the truth.
I get it. They want to do that whole tweener thing, but I mean, we're tweening with so many different characters right now. You know, the Elite, the Hangmans, the Jerichos and Omega. Everybody, Swerve. I mean, everybody's a tweener. I got one for you though. Just a thought.
Okay.
What if Swerve's the devil and the people that are doing all his work is the
mobile
the mogul embassy. What, Brian Cage and those guys? What if they're the ones doing all the beatdowns and then Swerve turns out to be the devil?
So first off, they ain't made a black suit big enough yet to fit Brian Cage. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, you're definitely not. Big joke. You're definitely not going to sell the fact that
you can call him big. He's big.
Yeah, there you go.
Big.
Well, he's swole. He calls himself swole or something. But yeah, so you're not going to sell me that he's been in one of those outfits.
No, he's not been
down.
But I could see the potential of Swerve being that. I think that would be really cool. I tell you who I would like to see partner up with Swerve though.
I would say Keith Lee.
No, I would love to see Samoa Joe. I think Samoa Joe being in that faction, him and Swerve, they kind of have that same MO. They're just killers. They're just out there. They're assassins.
I could see that.
Yeah, and that would be an awesome thing.
That might be a good payoff to this whole thing. You know, if they were working together, and maybe they give Joe the belt.
I'm kind of hoping Joe takes it off of him. I kind of hope.
I think at this point we're just looking for somebody to get it off.
Yeah.
MJF wandered into that Seth Rollins territory of where when he didn't have a title, you really wanted him to get a title because he was working so hard for it. Then the minute he got the title, it's like, man, I can't wait to see who gets it off of him. It's like, you know, you want him to have it, but as soon as he gets it, it's like, okay, you know, I need it gone. Yeah. To whereas Roman, you know, well, at least me, I don't want to see Roman lose it because I feel like the more you build it, it's just like a helium balloon. You just keep blowing and blowing until it pops.
I don't want to see Roman lose it right now. But I do want to see him defend it more.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's going to be that.
I think that's a part of the recipe here that as a fan, it's going to piss you off.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it has to happen this way.
Yeah.
Because you can't just keep putting him out there and putting people at his feet and letting him run over people, because eventually...
Right, you run out of roster.
You run out of roster, and you're going to run over that person that is supposed to put him over. So you kind of got to balance.
You know, the thing with, that whole thing, I know we brought it up on many different podcasts, less is more.
Yeah.
Sometimes with him, his act is what it is because it's less.
And maybe that's what needs to happen with MJF.
I mean, it definitely wouldn't hurt. At this point, it wouldn't hurt. But I mean...
Speaking of hurt, he's supposedly hurt.
So
he may not be shown again until World's End there at the last pay-per-view of the year.
Could be, but so it also leaked out that apparently he signed his contract and this, a long time.
We
back.
knew he signed that.
I mean, that's definitely in the archive.
Tony ain't going to put a belt on him.
No, not let him do that whole I'm leaving gimmick in 2024, blah, blah,
he
blah.
He done been through the whole CM Punk escapade.
Yeah, after that, I mean, if he wasn't smart enough to sign somebody up after that, then that would have been the time to realize, okay, we got a lot of moving parts here and a lot of slippery slopes. Yep. Let's go ahead and tie this down right now.
So let's speaking of CM Punk, let's transition to what's coming up.
Oh, well, we're way off topic here, guys. I know we prep topic, but we're way off the reservation now. But
so we got Survivor Series coming up. Everybody thought the fifth man could potentially be CM Punk. However, after Raw, we figured out who the fifth man is. However, we didn't see the man behind the curtain.
No, I mean...
we got told who it was.
There always could be a swerve.
Actually, we didn't get told who it was.
No, we got hinted at. They never actually said the name, and the fans said the name, and of course, Cody said, yeah, the fans are right. But Cody gave the hint, so he has a legacy with this person.
He's an apex predator.
Which, I mean, those are what I like to call red herrings sometimes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes what's so obvious isn't the obvious answer,
If they're not doing this, and if I'm Triple H, somehow, some way, I'm going to try my best to figure out how to announce to the Twitterverse and everything else that y'all are wrong. Because if this carries on, Twitterverse and everywhere else has hyped themselves up so much for Saturday that if he doesn't appear, they could piss all over Survivor Series, even though it's going to be a great event.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where WWE might be caught between a rock and a hard place here.
Well, I mean, that all boils down to if they got Punk on roster. I mean, if Punk's on roster, you're not going to not bring him out in Chicago, right? They are repeatedly releasing more ticket sales, so they're changing production around. They just came out after Raw last night. They said a month ago it was sold out. Periodically since then, they've come out and said more tickets have been released to make available. So, I mean, they're packing the house.
So behind the scenes, whenever they do that for a concert, they'll do a load in of the stage. They'll do a load in of all the setup and everything else. And then they'll realize, oh, yeah, we can put more seats here, more seats here, more seats here. So that they've done that. They've released those tickets. And
with the Allstate Arena, there's a whole second level that they don't try not to get into. When I went to WrestleMania there, of course, they were in the second level. Right. But I went to Raws and SmackDowns there before I left, where they didn't use all of the second level. They kind of tarped some of it off, but it could be opened up. So, I mean, at this point now, if there's that much interest and, the talk's going around, Punk may be there, Randy Orton's coming back, a lot of stuff's leaking. Hey, if it's generating ticket sales, hey, you're going to open up those spots and sell those tickets.
And that's the
flip side of it, though. Apparently, Dynamite that's going to be in Chicago here Wednesday, the day before or the week before. What is it? 3 days before the pay-per-view. Apparently, they're having a hard time selling 2,000 tickets. I read today that they're at. I think they're at 1,500, but they got a capacity for $4,000. Yeah. So it's kind of, but as somebody mentioned that, and I posted on social media. If you're looking at where you're gonna spend your money at this particular week in Chicago,
you're gonna spend it on Survivor.
You're spending it on Survivor Series. Easy. I mean, having it there, I get it. It's an annual thing for AEW. They love going to Chicago at Survivor Series. But damn, come on now. 3 months ago when all these different rumors started coming out, maybe you look at, hey, can we push that a couple weeks and come back? Or maybe can we push it up a couple? Maybe we do something different. Hell, we don't throw our Thanksgiving event 3 days before what could be, a groundbreaking Survivor Series and expect to sell out.
Yeah, and I feel bad for him. I really do. But at the same time, it's the storylines, it's everything else that we've said in the past few episodes here recently. We're not going to beat a dead horse, but it's just
let's be honest. A year ago, they would have sold out regardless of what WWE was doing.
They were the brand new toy still. They would have sold out. 100% they would have sold out. Now they're struggling to get 50% capacity. You got to attribute it to something. It's not just dumb luck. No.
People in Chicago got plenty of money to go to whatever they want. There's people that already got their tickets for SmackDown and Survivor Series. Meaning they got an extra $50 to get into AEW if they wanted to.
As a wrestling fan, though, I've seen all the flips and flops and everything else of the AEW. I've seen the AEW style, as we keep calling it here lately. But at the same time, I've not seen some of these stories that WWE has been producing.
Yeah, at least nothing that's going to make you drop that extra money on on a holiday week.
You want to understand how to get us, reel us in as fans, TK. Go back to the first 15 minutes we spent of this podcast just now talking about Hangman and Swerve.
Exactly.
That's
more
what
of that.
More of that.
More of that.
Dude, if you just keep producing more of that,
less of the ridiculousness,
right?
Way more of that.
No more surprise announcements, all that crap.
Exactly.
I don't care about who you bring it in. Do something with what you got.
Right, yeah. And
let me drop my mic on that.
There you go. Who you're bringing in and all that. If you're going to keep doing that, live up to it. The problem is there's been so many letdowns on that now that's bastardized. Yeah. If you say there's a big announcement, I'm like, when you were snoring a minute ago, when they say big announcement, hell, I'm changing the channel. Like, I'll catch it on the internet in 15 minutes.
Yeah, but so the war games that are happening there at Survivor Series, we got Randy Orton coming back. It was a little tease, if you will, a little curtain show, if you will. They talked about him. We still don't know.
Did you notice Jey Uso when they mentioned the hint?
I wish
who was coming.
I wish we had time to dig into that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said
there is so much there.
Yeah, there were
because Jay looked worried.
I mean, because the last time we saw Randy Orton, who was sending him packing? The Bloodline.
The Bloodline.
Who was standing shoulder to shoulder with the Tribal Chief? The main event, right hand man, of course. So the last time we saw Randy and the last time Randy saw wrestling, him and Jay weren't on the same page. And Drew's big complaint right now is, the Bloodline screwed me over, so I'm coming for you. So you want to think, well, damn. So Drew has this recollection. What do we think? Randy forgot what happened 18 months ago? But again, we digress. Yep. We'll wait and kind of recap what happens.
All we're going to say is if there's any thread of story that you pay attention to for Survivor Series, for War Games, pay attention to that one.
The intricacies. I mean, there's so many. So good. There's so many mini stories in the big story that it's just. But listen to how we talk about that with such enthusiasm. Then while we say, AEW, if you could do something else, then people will buy your tickets.
Touche.
There's a little bit of stuff you can do here, like they did with the Swerve. Swerve and Hangman had little intricacies in there that was so interesting that you're like, damn, I want to see that. Then when the match can pay off, you're like, oh my God, this is wonderful. When you don't have A, B don't really matter so much. And that's what they're missing now. The matches they're putting on are great, but damn, what are you giving me to get me invested in
so here you go, TK. Some free advice, and then we'll move on. Here you go, TK.
Maybe.
You ready, TK? Here we go. Instead of giving me Ospreay and matches, give me Ospreay and some stories.
Hell, I'll take it a step further. Tell me who Will Ospreay is.
Exactly.
I mean, I was listening to, what was it? I think it was the 83 Weeks, the Eric Bischoff podcast. And he was saying, if you're not in the 25% of wrestling fans, that's the internet wrestling community, and you're that diehard fan, if you're that casual watcher, you don't know who the hell Will Ospreay is. Yep. You've seen him wrestle at AEW before, but he ain't a household name. So you can spend the next 6 months just telling me who Will Ospreay is. Let him wrestle a couple of matches just so we can see, damn, this guy's heat in the ring. But
so there's
why?
A story.
Why do I care?
There is a story laying on the table that he can already tell. The story is between Kenny Omega, Jay White, Will Ospreay.
Okay.
Kenny Omega.
I'm already interested just by the names involved.
Kenny Omega busted his ass to elevate Jay White and Will Ospreay in New Japan because he knew he was leaving New Japan, and he wanted to leave New Japan better than when he found it.
Well, that makes sense.
What doesn't make sense, though, why the hell do I have Jay White and Will Ospreay now in AEW?
Yeah.
Why did you follow me?
Yeah, if you were supposed to be so successful there, carrying.
Dude, Right there's your story.
Hey,
Tell me, All In Wembley Stadium triple threat match. Jay White, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega.
I'm all for it.
See?
Like I said, as soon as you said the three names and said there's a story already embedded, I was immediately interested. Like, wait a minute.
TK, that was on the house. I don't know this
story. Let me hear the story. Yep. Just laying it out in 3 minutes that you took there already got me interested. Like, damn, you know what? I would love to see that match. Yep. Now, I would love to see that story told. Unfortunately, I feel like we're going to see Will Ospreay wrestle like 7 bangers in the next I think he can't come over till February.
Yeah,
I feel like between February and May,
yeah,
we're going to see him wrestle like 10 bangers, like on Dynamite or fucking Collision or some nonsense. And then I'll be like, what the hell? When he starts his story, I'll be like, I'm already bored with this guy.
Yeah. So since
hopefully not though.
Since we're booking, we're in the mood.
All right.
'Tis the season. Let's get down to the topic here. We're talking about booking a storyline for the Four Horsewomen. And of course, this is actually tied into what's going on at Survivor Series with the War Games match that the ladies are going to be in.
Yep.
So we saw somebody make a strange alliance on SmackDown that we thought we may never see again.
Yeah.
We saw Charlotte and Becky standing on the same side of the ring.
Shoulder to shoulder.
Shoulder to shoulder, which we've never seen that before, since the whole...
We've seen it a long time ago.
We've never seen it since the whole fallout, the belts changed.
Since that whole thing.
They really fell out backstage.
Essentially since WrestleMania, when they main evented WrestleMania, we haven't really seen them do anything together where they got along since, because they don't get along.
Yep. So kind of here's what I'm seeing as a storyline that could play out involving the Four Horsewomen. So let's say we get into this match, and for whatever reason...
Now wait, before we go farther, you're not confusing Bianca with Sasha because of this ain't a race thing, right?
No.
We all don't look alike. I'm just putting that out there. I don't want anybody out there listening thinking like, does he think Bianca is Sasha? No, so it's not a race thing here. We all don't look alike. We get it.
So what I'm seeing that could really take place here, since Becky and Charlotte have kind of aligned forces again, it's not secretive that right now there's some friction within Damage Control. Bayley feels like she's on the outside, right?
Yeah, I love it too. I love how they're doing it because they're still telling her, "Oh yeah, you're the leader. You're the leader."
It's not.
And then they have a whole conversation in a different language that good. Now, be honest. When you're in the, you've been around bilingual people, and, in work situations and things like that.
When they really want to tell you what they want to say.
When they go into a whole different conversation in another language, and you're still standing there like you were in the conversation, but now all of a sudden they know for a fact you're not.
Yep.
Whether they're talking about you or not, damn it, you think they're talking about you. And Bayley's in that situation, and it's cool because, anybody can relate. Like, you're looking at it like, hey, what are y'all saying over there? It's so relatable that it's, okay, I'm interested in this now. Where's this going?
So what I see happening is we get into the match. It's a banger of a match. It's a crazy match. You got Charlotte doing moonsaults. You got Io doing moonsaults off the cage. All it's going to come down to, but all of a sudden, Bayley will be the one that takes the pin for Damage Control, costing them the match.
I could definitely see that.
And then after it's all said and done with, Damage Control will turn on Bayley.
I can see that.
For being the weakest link and losing the match.
Now I want to throw a curve in here. I just want to get involved because I'm not. So this past Monday on Raw, we saw Becky Lynch wrestle Xia Li, right?
Yep.
And Becky won.
Yep.
Maybe Xia wants a little bit of revenge and she sees her brethren, her countrymen out there, and she says, I'm going to come out there. And maybe she can get involved with. I'm just trying to find a way to get her involved. I want her involved.
Maybe.
I just want her involved. When she wrestled Becky, I'm like, the timing is, and I mean, as we speak, she's probably winning the NXT women's title right now, or wrestling. I know she's wrestling for it, but a little behind the curtain. It's Tuesday when we're recording, holiday week.
So seeing as how Bayley takes the pin, Damage Control doesn't like that. They see her as the weak link. They turn on her and they proceed to continue the beatdown.
Right at Survivor Series?
Right at Survivor Series on Bayley.
Okay.
And because of that, Charlotte and Becky see what's going on and decide to throw a bone to a friend and go help her out.
That's when they decide to do it? After all the trash that she's talking about and all that?
No time like the present.
Oh, okay.
So they turn around, they go in there, handle business, help Bayley out, clear the ring, throw up the Four Horsewomen sign to Bayley, and walk out. And leaves Bayley confused.
Okay.
Not knowing what just happened, where this is going, everything else. So the storyline.
Do they do the normal camera spot where Becky and Charlotte are walking up the aisle with the four in the air? Becky's on her knees in the ring looking confused, and then all the rest of Damage Control, they're out there just so if Bayley's not in it, they're not Damage Control. At that point, they're the Kabuki Warriors.
So
the Kabuki Warriors are all on the floor holding their bruised heads and their stomachs and all that. So that's a Kevin Dunn move right there. Kevin Dunn, if you're listening, if we see that, I expect a check. You send that royalty right on to the Booker's Alliance. So Booker'sAlliance.com.
We see all this happen, and then the storyline progresses throughout the weeks where Becky and Charlotte are kind of reaching out to Bayley. Bayley really don't know who to trust. Do I trust my Damage Control mates? Do I go back to the Four Horsewomen? Where do I wind up with this? Maybe it all starts to pay off around Rumble or Mania, where you start seeing Bayley realign herself with Charlotte and Becky and have a 3-on-3. You got Charlotte, Becky.
Well, wait a minute, but you said they're throwing up the Four Horsewomen side. Now we can't have a 3-on-3 if we're going to throw up four fingers.
This is where we get to the four. So in this match, Dakota Kai seems like she's going to get herself in the ring.
Is she finally going to be able to walk again?
To get in there. So she gets in herself. So she is the fourth member of Damage Control. So where do the Fourth Horsewomen go?
Okay.
Either Sasha Monet or Mercedes Banks, whichever one.
Mercedes Banks wasn't that Will's cousin?
Maybe.
There you go. That was Hillary. Okay, Hillary. Damn. I went all off the reservation. They kind of look alike. Now that I think about it.
So where I'm going with this, though, as we wrap up here, where I'm going with this is we would finally get to see them pay off the whole Four Horsewomen. Because we never got to see them pay it off.
We never saw it. No.
We never saw it.
And there was a point where they had the MMA version and the WWE version that we never got that payoff either.
So we got to see the one picture of them behind the scenes in NXT holding up the Four Horsewomen sign, and that was it. That's all we got. We've heard about it. It's lore. It's fantasy legend. What if it actually materializes and then the Four Horsewomen run the gambit?
Well, so who created it in NXT?
Triple H,
right? And who's running the show right now?
Triple H.
If anybody was going to do it, well, I'm going to give you the Booker T stamp of approval on your booking here, right. And that's going to be I like it.
I like it.
You got it.
Yeah,
I like it. Now, y'all insert the whoop that tricks in there while I was going. I gave you the pause for it, but I like it. Yeah, I mean, Booker would say, I like it. I do. I like that. That would, if there was any way to get, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Sasha Monet, Mercedes Banks. If they could get all that to happen, I mean, that would take it'd be like a perfect storm, but that would be amazing. If we could finally get those four just to have one match. I mean, yeah, we're not going to carry it all the way to next year's War Games or anything like that. But if we could just get that one match,
so
even if it, like you said, if it has to be Royal Rumble, if we could get that one match, I feel like that payoff would be amazing.
So, I mean, huge throwback to growing up as a fan of the Four Horsemen. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. Evolution, the second coming of the Four Horsemen. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. If you give me this Triple H, dude, you have made a happy boy right
at that point, I mean, you can't ask for much else. I mean, again, that's something that we missed the boat on the two Four Horsewomen groups, battling for the name. But I mean, the MMA girls weren't up to par. It wasn't going to happen. No. So the timing wasn't right. But I mean, the way you just laid that out there, the timing's right. That we could make that happen. That would be so amazing. Yeah, again, perfect storm, but the idea is amazing.
You ain't got to run far with it. You ain't got to run far.
No, all you got to do one match payoff.
One match payoff, or a couple months with it, dude. Just you're printing money at the merch at that point.
Just ride it from, get in there, get the angle going, maybe ride through a pay-per-view where you kind of tease it, maybe a tag match or something like that.
Maybe ride it from Mania to SummerSlam.
Yeah, even if you can't get that Backlash. I mean, if you can just have a tag match at Backlash where you get two of the women involved, or at Mania, and then you carry it into Backlash where you give us the 4-person payoff then, I'll take it then. And like you said, it doesn't have to last long. It just has to happen.
Yeah, so that's our fantasy booking storyline for the Four Four Horsewomen. Tell us what you think. Would you like to see that? Would you be interested in seeing that? Is there somebody else that you would like to see instead of, Barry Windham? Would you like to see?
Oh, good Lord!
Would you like to see Sting or Lex Luger? Who else would you like?
If I had my choice, I'd want to see big Nikita Lyons out there, and I'd get her involved in that.
Big
match.
Nikita Lyons.
Yeah.
Maybe if they can't get Sasha, maybe it is Bianca.
Maybe they bring in big Piper Niven. Jeez. Okay, we wandered into did the scary territory.
Yeah, we're gonna end it here, folks. With that, though, we appreciate you guys listening. Reach out on our social media platforms. Drop us a line. As always, thank you for listening to our episodes, and happy holidays till you go out there, spend time with your family, and we thank you for all that you do. And with that, we bid you adieu.
Big.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.